Hey, beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode of If Margaritas Could Talk, the podcast where grown women speak freely, laugh loudly, and sip slowly. I'm your host, Tracee Black, and today's episode is all about that one little moment that changes everything. Just like that. This is our new mini-series, and this one is called I Stopped Explaining Myself. You know what I'm talking about. That switch that flips sometimes after 40, where you realize you don't owe anyone a play-by-play of your decisions, your boundaries, or your healing. If you're tired of over-explaining or over-apologizing and over-performing, this one is for you. So grab a drink, coffee, tea, tequila, whatever your truth serum is today, and let's get into it. So let me take you back. I used to be the queen of the long-winded no. I'd turn down an invite and follow it up with an essay. Why? Why do we do that? I'm so sorry. I've just had a really crazy week and I need to recharge. And I feel bad because I miss you, but I also haven't done laundry and. Girl, stop. I mean, really just stop. We explain because we've been trained to. Put that in your back of your mind and think about that. We have been trained to explain, condition, or soften our truth. To be agreeable? Perhaps. To smooth things over? Sometimes. To make sure people still like us? Definitely. But here's the truth. Every time that you explain yourself just to avoid discomfort, you chip away at your own authority. And again, let that one sink in. The moment I stopped, I remember it. It was so clear. For me, the shift came slowly and then suddenly. It was around, I want to say like 44 to 49. Maybe closer to 49. I was exhausted. Not just physically, but emotionally tired of justifying why I needed space. Why didn't I answer right away? Why was I changing? And one day, I just didn't do it. Someone asked me to do something and I said, nope, not available. Period. And guess what? The world didn't end. They didn't fall apart. And that's what goes through our mind every single time is this conscientious level of guilt that kicks in if we're saying no to somebody because we want to be these people pleasers. I just say, hey, just knock it off. Allow yourself to feel free. Allow yourself to feel free because it's easy, right? Just like that. I realized I didn't have to earn my peace. I don't have to explain my boundaries like they're bad behavior. The one thing that prevents us from being truthful or being honest or owning our boundaries and not having to explain them to anybody means that you are protecting your peace. And I've said it before. I believe through and through that each of us has this obligation to protect ourselves. It's funny because as moms, we work so hard to protect our children. We work hard to protect everything about them. We want to protect them in any way, shape, and form. We want to protect them from being hurt. We want to protect them from other people. We want to protect them from bad environments. We do all the things. But we forget as adults that we also need to protect ourselves. When someone makes you feel a certain type of way, have you ever prevented yourself from being truthful and honest because maybe they're the gossipy one and they're going to talk about you in the group, or they're going to, I don't know, say things. But remember, if they are that kind of a person because they are taken back by your honesty and your openness and your regard for protecting your peace, then it tells a lot more about who they are than you. Where we lose time. This is a really big one. You know that we lose so much time as women. And the explanations are just kind of crazy to me. And I've caught myself over the years just being this person who always had to give explanations. You know why? Because I felt bad. Why did I feel bad? Because I always had to be this person who says yes because we were trained to say yes. We were trained to give explanations. How about step into your own zone? And if any of these sound familiar to you, I'm sure they are and they will. So here's a few of the list of explanations that I've had to write down. So here's one. I know this sounds crazy, but that's an explanation. I hope this doesn't come off as mean, but that's an explanation. I just wanted to let you know because I didn't want you to think. That's an explanation. Sis, stop. Let them think on their own. The truth is, some people need you to over-explain because your power without apology makes them uncomfortable. This is the hard truth and the raw facts. But you're not responsible for managing their discomfort anymore. You're responsible for being in alignment with you. After 40, after 50, after 60, we don't have time for diplomacy that costs us our joy. So do everything, like I said, to protect your joy. We don't need to preface our truth, or we don't need to give 10 kind of disclaimers. We're not doing that anymore. So take this podcast and pass it on to all your friends who, and especially those ladies and those people in your gang, in your girl gang that are habitual explainers. Say, hey, take a listen to this. Maybe take some pointers from it. I think that we can all learn something from stepping into a place where we can support one another without having to give a reason why. I want to talk about listener moments. I absolutely just love, hearing from you all. And some of you shared your just like that moments on this topic. One listener said, just like that, I stopped explaining why I didn't want to go to my cousin's 4th baby shower. I sent a gift, stayed home, and kept my peace. And that right there, ladies and gents, is what I'm talking about. Maybe not all of you get it because you're not there yet, and that's okay. But I want to inform you that having kind of this newfound, hey, aha moment of I can actually make this choice and decisions for myself. Let me be in this moment. Let me make these decisions. Let me decide for myself how to protect my own peace. So I had another listener that said, I used to explain to friends why I couldn't always be emotionally available. This is a big one. Now I just say, I'm not in the space for that right now. And I let it be. That is power. You are not in the space to take on someone's emotional baggage. Now, I want to make sure that you are understanding the emotional power that holds. Have you had that friend that, or maybe some of you have that friend or that family member, someone in your gang, your women gang, that is constantly emotionally just a hot mess express? I've been there. I've been through a lot of things, but I started to recognize that we use the word venting. And venting is a good way to say, hey, I need to get this stuff off my chest. But sometimes the person on the other end isn't really ready to receive it, or nor do they have themselves in a position to emotionally be available for that. And when we're in that moment of venting, we're sort of thinking about ourselves. We're thinking about all the things and all the reasons why and why we're upset. How about just maybe own your own? Let me sit in this moment before I have to check in with somebody else to say, are you available? Because I kind of need to get this off my chest. If they say I'm not in that space right now, that's okay. Let them. Your challenge this week is, of course, catch yourself. I want you to catch yourself when you are about to explain something to somebody. And just pause. Ask yourself, is this explanation or is it clarity or comfort? 3 things to ask yourself, very simple. Why am I in this moment? Stop yourself. If it's to make someone else feel better about your boundary, you don't need to say it. Just like that, you reclaim your time. All right, my loves, that's a wrap for today's episode of If Margaritas Could Talk. I hope that you feel empowered to speak less and mean more. Trust your own yes, to honor your own no. And stop explaining yourself to people who are never going to understand anyway. Remember, silence can be a boundary, and that is perfectly okay. No can be a full sentence, and peace is priceless. If this has resonated with you, share it, rate it, tag me at Tracee L. Black on Instagram or Margaritas Could Talk on Facebook. And of course, Salted and Sassy or Margaritas Could Talk on TikTok. And let's keep this Just Like That series going. Stay salty, stay sacred, and baby, stay unapologetically you. Cheers.